In the 3rd year after being taken home, I jumped from a building, my soul drifted in the air, wanting to see how my parents and brother, who had always looked down on me, would weep bitterly and regret their past actions, but my father just shook his head indifferently and said to my body, "How childish." My mother pursed her lips and let out a sigh of relief, as if a heavy burden had been lifted. My brother stood in front of the fake heiress to shield her from seeing my gruesome death, however. The fake heiress was still frightened to tears, causing the whole family to rush over and comfort her. I was stunned for a long time before letting out a self-mocking, relieved smile. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the moment I was first brought home, realizing I had been reborn. I sat in silence for a long time. My parents before me, their eyes red, poured out their years of longing and guilt toward me. They had missed me for 10 years, in my previous life. I was so moved that I burst into tears and threw myself into their arms, naively believing that I finally had a home. I have someone to love me now. Yet, 3 years later, I was frantically tearing at my hair, wailing and threatening to jump off a building in front of them, hoping to trade my death for even a shred of their love. But no one has ever loved me, so, at this moment, I feel nothing, as calm as a piece of wood. My dear daughter, are you still not quite settled in? It's okay. Mom will take you to pick a room first, choose whichever you like. Seeing my silence, my mother took my hand and led me up to the 3rd floor. My father followed with a smile, calling my brother Lu Jing at the same time to urge him to come home quickly. Lu Jing only replied with one word, "Busy." My father was displeased, and my mother seemed a bit embarrassed as she explained to me, "Your brother is very busy. He's basically taken over the group's affairs and can only come back on weekends." In my previous life, I believed it. In this life, I don't really care, so I'll just keep believing it. When I reached the 3rd floor, every room was brightly decorated, filled with warmth and a girlish charm. "Chow Chow, you choose, you can stay in any room," my father said with a smile. My gaze locked onto the room closest to the stairs. On the bed inside sat a fluffy panda. In my previous life, I was instantly captivated and mistakenly thought my parents loved me deeply. So I chose that room right away. I liked that panda. However, my parents' expressions changed slightly. They exchanged a glance and quickly smiled, saying, "Chow Chow, we forgot to tell you, this room belongs to your sister Nian Nian. Nian Nian is very considerate. She specifically cleared out her own room and said she wanted you to choose. You should have the most spacious one." At that moment, I blinked, feeling grateful, and said, "My sister gave up her room for me. She's so kind." I still like that panda, and I like that room. My parents exchanged glances again, hesitating to speak, but I, overwhelmed with joy, had already run in and hugged the panda without hesitation. Just then, Lu Nian returned with his backpack. Lu Nian is the same age as me, 15 years old. She is much more mature than I am, not as naive and innocent as I am. Seeing that I had barged into her room, she pursed her lips and forced a dimpled smile, pretending to be relaxed. "I heard that my sister has come home, so I took leave and rushed back. Do you like this room? Then you can stay here." After saying that, she bit the corner of her mouth and turned her face away. Her parents took in every change in her. My mother hurried in to pull me aside. "Chow Chow, choose another room. This one is too big. I don't think it's suitable." "Why isn't it suitable?" I was very puzzled. I also subtly sensed the change in the atmosphere. But how could I have understood back then what exactly was wrong? My parents were clearly shedding tears for me, loving me so much. Lu Nian had clearly taken the initiative to clear out the room for me to choose. Ming, I am my parents' own daughter, so is it wrong for me to choose a room I like? So, I was full of doubts. My mother's expression changed again, as if she wanted to say something but held back. My father looked much more stern and also remained silent. Lu Nian took the initiative to come over and help me make the bed. "Sister, you should stay here. This home is originally yours, so feel free to make yourself at home." I settled in. In the village, I only dealt with pots, pans, bowls, and farmland. Now that I've come to the city, I still only know how to deal with pots, pans, bowls, and farmland. But in the city, there are no pots, pans, bowls, or farmland anymore. So, I don't understand. What's wrong? I had only stayed in Lu Nian's room for half a day when my brother Lu Jing, who had rushed back, dragged me out. Furious, he pulled me, who was reading a book, to the doorway and scolded me with resentment. Do you have any manners? This is Nian Nian's room. How can you have the nerve to take over her place? I was completely stunned, not just because it was the first time I had seen my brother. Moreover, I can't figure out how I've taken over someone else's place. I was so scared that I called out for Mom and Dad. Mom and Dad hurried upstairs, and Lu Jing took the lead in questioning them. Mom, Dad, how did you arrange this? This is Nian Nian's room. Treating us differently like this will only hurt Nian Nian's feelings, won't it? This. Mom and Dad looked conflicted, unsure of what to say. I keenly caught the fleeting flash of anger in my mother's eyes. That was the look she gave me. I froze for a moment. This look was all too familiar to me. My late adoptive father used to look at me the same way when he was alive. Mom was angry with me. It turns out, I really am a turtle dove. The turtle dove stood cautiously on the wire, enduring year after year. In the end, it jumped from the tall building. It was truly foolish. In this life, I must not be foolish. In this life, I will neither strive nor compete, neither cry nor make a fuss, and of course, I will no longer love them. I smiled faintly in my heart and pointed to the smallest room at the very end. I want that one. My parents were taken aback for a moment, then showed a relieved expression, though they pretended to scold me, saying, "That's the storage room. Why would you choose that? Pick another one. I'm used to living in small rooms. They make me feel more secure." My tone carried a hint of self-mockery. After a sigh, my parents agreed. They so readily agreed to let their long-lost daughter, who had just returned home after 10 years, move into the storage room. The adopted daughter, Lu Nian, returned just in time. She ran upstairs and was clearly taken aback to see me in the storage room. I glanced at her, my expression calm and unruffled. She thought I didn't know. She deliberately placed a panda in her room to lure me into choosing it. From the very first day I returned home, I fell into her carefully laid trap. She spent 3 years competing with me for our family's affection, and in the end, she won completely, and I, through death, came to understand a truth. The best way to receive love is to love yourself. I moved into the storage room and closed the door. Lu Nian brought over a panda plushie. "Sister, I'm giving you a plushie. You'll definitely like it." "I don't like plushies. Thank you," I replied from behind the door. Taking out the books I had brought from the countryside, from the moment of my rebirth, I had a plan. I will love myself. There are many ways to love oneself, and for me now, achieving academic success and becoming independent is the best way. Sister doesn't like me, does she? Well, I am the one who has taken over the nest. Lu Nian spoke dejectedly outside the door, seemingly speaking to me, but actually for our parents to hear. Our parents are still here, sure enough. My mother quickly comforted her. "Your sister might be tired and needs to rest. Don't overthink it." My father also spoke up. "Nian Nian, don't overthink it. In this family, no one is a cuckoo occupying another's nest. Actually, there is. It's me." I took a nap, and the villa had already become quiet. The nanny said that the young lady was in a bad mood, so the master and mistress took her out shopping. I said, "Oh, that's good." I started gathering the red envelopes. These were given by my parents and relatives when they came to pick me up, and they added up to over 100,000 yuan. I need to save it, because my future days won't be easy, and this over 100,000 yuan is my biggest asset. The village chief had helped me open a bank card, so I took it and went to a nearby bank. Having endured 3 years of hardship in my previous life, I was already familiar with the area and wouldn't get lost when going out. When I arrived at the bank, a handsome man in a suit walked toward me, accompanied by the bank manager, who was bowing and nodding as he saw him off. I stopped in my tracks. "The man in the suit is my brother, Lu Jing. This is our first meeting in this lifetime, but he recognizes me. After all, he has my photos and videos." He also saw me, looked me up and down a few times, and spoke coldly. "Lu Chao Chao." I hummed in agreement. The bank manager's eyes lit up, and he became extremely enthusiastic toward me. "What is your relationship with Mr. Lu?" "Miss." Lu Jing frowned and said unhappily, "You don't need to know. Go attend to your work." The bank manager left with an awkward smile. Lu Jing looked at me again. "You just got home. What are you doing here?" "Saving money," I answered truthfully and went straight to get a number. "Saving money, those red envelopes." Lu Jing showed a disdainful smile. I thought you would give the red envelopes to your parents for safekeeping. After all, Nian Nian has always done it that way. I didn't answer. Lu Jing snorted lightly. So young, yet so greedy for money. But remember, you can be greedy for your own money, but don't lay a hand on the family's wealth. He was exactly the same as in my previous life. In my first week back home, a gold necklace went missing. Lu Jing was convinced that I was the one who stole it. He thought I lacked upbringing, cared only about money, and was a troublemaker. Unexpectedly, in this second chance at life, before the family's gold necklace had even gone missing, Lu Jing had already passed judgment on me, but I didn't argue, and I didn't care. I'll just save my money. Lu Jing snorted and walked away. In the evening, my parents and Lu Nian were both home. They were helping me choose a school. The brochure is filled with elite schools. I made my own choice directly. I don't want to attend an elite school. I want to go to Sioux City No. 1 high school, a top-tier public high school, attend high school, take the college entrance exam, and leave this home. That is my plan. I don't want to be a wealthy heiress. My parents were very surprised. Lu Nian hid her inner joy and said, "Sis, we don't need to attend an ordinary high school. We don't even have to take the college entrance exam. We'll be studying abroad in the future. Yes, Chow Chow, you and your sister should attend Zijingwa Academy together. We'll arrange everything for your future." My mother pats the back of my hand. My father's eyes flicker, considering something. I know what he's considering. In my previous life, I enrolled in the Purple Gold Flower Academy and became famous overnight. It's not that I am dazzling, but that I am too out of place. A country girl studying alongside the wealthiest young masters and ladies of Sioux City seemed utterly out of place. Moreover, after the news spread that I was the daughter of the Lu family, it attracted a lot of ridicule. Many people came to see me out of curiosity, only to find that I was just a dark, skinny country girl, which inevitably led to disappointment. More importantly, Lu Nian added fuel to the fire, not only finding people to bully me but also sending a handsome guy to pursue me, after I became intoxicated by his sweet words. The guy publicly released numerous recordings and videos of me and him. I instantly became the laughingstock of everyone, completely disgracing the Lu family. At that time, my father was furious and slapped me to the ground. "I knew this day would come when I sent you to that elite school. You've truly brought shame upon our Lu family." My father places immense importance on face, and I have torn his apart. Right now, all my father is thinking about is face. Lu Nian can uphold her dignity, but what about me? I only like public schools. "Let me attend Sioux City No. 1 high school," I said with great determination. My mother was about to persuade me further, but my father interrupted. All right, let the child make their own choice. Since we love our child, we shouldn't force them into something they don't want." I almost laughed out loud, but I managed to hold it back. The laughter that never made it past my throat turned into a faint, unshaken sense of desolation deep inside. I started high school, Sucheng No. 1 high school. This school was the farthest from home, so after 2 weeks of classes, I naturally suggested living on campus. The whole family was surprised while eating. Lu Jing rarely comes home, and now he frowns at me. "Living on campus? Lu Chow Chow, why do I feel like you're not close to us at all? You've been back for over half a month now, and you still haven't adjusted to being at home." How could I ever adjust? I struggled for 3 years back then, and in the end, I never managed to adjust. "Living on campus makes studying more convenient," I calmly gave my reason. Lu Jing narrowed his eyes and remained silent. My mother took my hand. "Chow Chow, is something on your mind? I always feel like you don't quite fit in with us." "Well, we just don't get along, so, out of sight, out of mind, just to study better," I explained again. Beside me, Lu Nian's eyes reddened, on the verge of tears. "Sis, you must hate me, right? Don't move into the dorm, I'll go instead. I won't appear in front of you anymore." After saying that, she went to pack her things. I smiled. "Lu Nian, you're in quite a hurry. For over half a month now, she has always found ways to pick fights, either to provoke me or to slander me. But I don't fight or compete. Like an otter, Lu Nian couldn't do anything about me. Now, having finally seized the opportunity to retreat in order to advance, she immediately put on an act. Anyone who isn't a fool can see Lu Nian's little schemes. My parents and brother naturally noticed, but they didn't care. They favored Lu Nian. Lu Jing put down his chopsticks. Nian Nian, why would you live on campus? Sit down. Lu Nian sniffled and obediently sat down. My father seized the opportunity to agree to my request. Since Chow Chow wants to live on campus, then let her. It's not a big deal anyway. This is certainly not a big deal. After all, in my previous life, I had already lived on campus. To be precise, I lived in a rented apartment near the school. Back then, because Lu Nian repeatedly picked fights and slandered me, my still immature self couldn't help but get into a physical altercation with her. We tumbled down the stairs. I wasn't injured, but Lu Nian ended up with a bleeding head. I thought I had one, but when my family rushed over, I realized I had lost completely. My mother hugged Lu Nian, her heart aching as tears streamed down her face. My father, furious, grabbed me and shouted, "Lu Chow Chow, what are you doing? Are you out of your mind?" Lu Jing was also at home. Without a word, he kicked me and said, "Do you think this is the countryside? Who allowed you to fight like a wild dog?" Apologized to Nian Nian. The family's anger was all directed at me. I apologized in terror. While Lu Nian cried as she packed her bags, she said I didn't like her, that she would go live outside, and that this home could be left to her sister. Naturally, the family was unwilling and tried to comfort her, urging her to stay. I stood there, lost in thought. Lu Jing suddenly scolded me, "You made a mistake and don't know how to show some remorse. I think you should go live outside. This home only has room for Nian Nian." I was jolted awake. No wonder my parents always looked at me as if they had something to say but held back. So, they were hoping I would take the initiative to move out. It was like a sudden blow that woke up the late-blooming girl. I moved out, forced to leave my family. I lived in that rented room for a full 2 years. My thoughts returned, and I went upstairs to pack my things. "I'm going to move out early, as you wish. I've rented a small apartment near Sioux City No. 1 high school, not directly on campus. There's only one nanny running around." She was puzzled and quietly asked me, "Miss, are your parents really okay with you living here alone? Why don't they come?" Of course, they won't come. After all, Lu Nian is in a bad mood again, and they're busy comforting her. Seeing my silence, the nanny awkwardly comforted me. "Maybe they're just busy. They'll come see you once they're free." The nanny made a mistake. My parents and brother didn't come to see me at all. My mother only gave me a call. "Chow Chow, have you settled in?" "Oh, I'm really worried about you living alone out there." I said I had settled in. My mother sighed a few more times, but couldn't find any words to say. You see, without 7 parts of love, how can there be 3 parts of words? After hanging up the phone, I looked at this little nest that belonged to me and smiled sincerely. I finally don't have to be a cuckoo anymore. The days that followed were much simpler: eating, sleeping, and studying. 3 points in a straight line, without having to think about any family matters. They didn't think about me either. I had moved out for over a month and hadn't received a single phone call. It was as if everyone had died. Later, I met Lu Nian. On my way back to the apartment after school, I saw her riding a motorcycle, leading a large group of people through the streets and alleys with great energy and authority. This left me a bit stunned. Lu Nian is the daughter of a corporate tycoon. She shouldn't be roaring through the streets on a motorcycle like a rebellious girl. If my parents found out about this, they would definitely scold her. She seemed to have noticed me too, stepping on the gas and pulling up right in front of me. Before I could say anything, she took off her helmet and looked at me with a teasing gaze. "Lu Chow Chow, long time no see." I gave a non-committal hum. She tossed her hair, crossed her arms in a cool and flashy manner, and asked me a question. "Have your parents not given you a single call?" I nodded. She then asked if I wanted to know the reason. I shook my head. She said to herself, "Actually, they wanted to call you, but every time they tried, I would cry. To take care of me, they had no choice but to give up. Of course, the most important reason is that they hold a grudge against you." I listened silently. Lu Nian held back a laugh. "You've been home for quite a while now, yet you haven't grown close to your parents or brother at all. Do you really think they wouldn't resent you? I never expected to win without a fight. I was so afraid of you back then, afraid that if you came back, I would lose my position. But what happened? You left home on your own, handing everything over to me. Thank you so much." She spoke while carefully observing my expression. She was testing the waters with me, trying to see if I was naturally foolish or if I had willingly stepped aside. I want to laugh. "Sister, are you tired? I have something to do." I'm leaving first. I lifted my shoulder bag and walked toward the apartment. A biker guy approached and asked Lu Nian, Nian Nian, who is she, who else could it be, the precious daughter of my cheap parents, Lu Nian said without a care. The biker guy hissed, don't speak ill of Mr. and Mrs. Lu like that. Lu Nian turned and walked away. Clearly, she did not respect her parents, and perhaps, did not even love them. I smiled. Mom and Dad, you two are the most pitiful ones. During the summer vacation of my first year in high school, I went back home. But the house was empty, with no one there. The housekeeper who cleans the pool told me that my parents and their family have gone to the seaside for a vacation. They left yesterday. Didn't the master and madam inform you? The housekeeper was still puzzled as to why I didn't know. I didn't answer. I just left. Halfway there, my mom sent me a WeChat message. Chow chow, we're planning to go on a seaside vacation for at least half a month. Your mischievous little sister has been talking about it for ages. Do you want to join us? Looking at this message, I couldn't help but find it absurd. They're probably already at the seaside by now, and only now are they sending me a message. I thought about it and deliberately replied, I'll go. There was a long silence on the other end before any movement. Chow chow, you need to get home within half an hour. Your dad, that scatterbrain, got the flight time wrong. We have to leave right away. Half an hour. The villa is in the east of the city, while Su Cheng No, one high school is in the west. It takes nearly an hour by taxi. My mom is really clever. She defused my attack. I can't make it back in time. You all go ahead. I'm laughing. What are you laughing at? I don't know. I didn't neglect my studies during the summer vacation. To prepare for the future college entrance exam, I made early preparations and hired a tutor for guidance. I spent almost the entire summer studying. When I got tired of studying, I would look at my phone and scroll through my social media feed. From time to time, updates from my family would pop up in my feed, like my mom. For example, she would post a 9-square grid, with one photo of her and her dad, one of her brothers back, and the remaining 7, all of Lu Nian surfing. Lu Nian in a helicopter, Lu Nian on a jet ski, Lu Nian on a yacht, so trendy and beautiful, not like me, a nerdy bookworm wrapped in a school uniform, looking plain and unsophisticated. Of course, I'm not jealous. I won't be like in my past life, where after being deliberately left at home, I would cautiously call to ask if I had been forgotten. Now, I just give a like. I give a like to everyone's social media posts, wishing you happiness and well-being. After school started, I continued to study in an orderly manner. My grades also steadily improved from the middle of the pack, advancing into the top 10 in my grade. In middle school, students with good grades always tend to receive a bit more attention. I actually received a love letter. A boy praised me for my good grades, my beauty, and my fair skin. I was stunned for a long time, looking completely bewildered. Is this for me? Am I pretty? Am I fair? I asked my desk mate. Do you think I'm fair? My desk mate rolled his eyes like a dead fish. Stop showing off. I know you're fair, huh? I borrowed her makeup mirror and, after many days, took a look at myself for the first time. I actually look quite fair-skinned, no longer dark and skinny. With that malnourished look, my features also seem to have developed quite a bit, with a touch more handsomeness. It's a little bit pretty. Could it be that I've learned to love myself, and my appearance has improved as a result, for some reason? My eyes are a little red. My desk mate was shocked. Wow, did you make yourself cry with your own beauty? My grades were improving day by day. My appearance was also changing day by day. I didn't pay much attention to it, because as I grew older, my desire for independence grew stronger, especially after entering my senior year of high school. I often fantasized about being a strong, independent woman with my own career, standing at the peak of success and being admired by everyone. How laughable my past life was. For 3 whole years, I wasted it all on seeking love. I was demanding and seeking love from my family. I wanted my parents and brother to love me. However, on my 18th birthday, I jumped from a tall building, ending my life. 18 is a special day. I knew something big would happen today. Sure enough, early in the morning, my mother called me. This is the first phone call in half a year. The last one was on New Year's Eve, asking me to come back for the reunion dinner. I didn't go back. I made dumplings myself in my apartment. I answered the phone, and my mother's cheerful voice came through, "Sweetie, it's been so long, I've been afraid of disturbing your studies, so I didn't dare reach out." I softly hummed in agreement, showing my understanding. My mom got down to business. "So, we're planning to send Nyen Nyen abroad for school. What do you think? Do you want to go abroad?" This sentence sent my thoughts flying back to that day when the setting sun was stained with blood. That day, my mom also asked me if I wanted to go abroad. I answered, yes. After 3 years of torment, my heart is no longer human nor ghost. I am humble and cowardly, dim and dull, yet I cling desperately to Lu Nyen. I refuse to accept it. Why does the whole family love her? Why am I the cuckoo? Clearly, I am the biological daughter, the apple of this family's eye. So, when Lu Nyen went abroad to study, I had to go abroad too. I refused to fall behind. I clearly remember the slight change in my mother's expression at that moment. Just like the day I returned home and chose Lu Nyen's room, my subconscious had already told me that mom wasn't really asking for my opinion. She was just going through the motions. She had no intention of sending me abroad to study, but I was already out of my mind. I just want to cling tightly to Lu Nyen. My mother patted my head and said, "Chow chow. Let me tell you in advance, studying abroad is not an easy thing. There are many bad people out there, and your English is very poor. You haven't been studying hard these past few years. How could I focus on studying when I didn't receive a single ounce of love?" I didn't argue back. I just said that I wanted to study abroad. Since our family isn't short of money, just send me. Lu Nyen was snickering beside me. My dad lit a cigar and spoke in a low voice. "It's not about the money. Sending you abroad means going through the whole process again, and we'd have to worry about you every day. It's just too much trouble." He was afraid of the hassle. I said I would take good care of myself and wouldn't cause any trouble for the family. My father impatiently snorted, "What do you know? If something happens to you abroad, who will take care of you? Everyone is so busy. Use your head and think about it." Tears welled up in my eyes because my family's disdain had become blatantly obvious, but I still had to question it. I raised my voice and demanded, "Since everyone is so busy, aren't you afraid that Lu Nyen might run into trouble abroad with no one to look after her?" My father's face darkened with anger, snapping his cigar in two. My mother slapped my mouth. Pa, stop saying such unlucky things. Your sister will be fine." Just then, Lu Jing returned. Upon hearing that Lu Nyen was going abroad, he was so reluctant to see her go that he flew straight back from the capital. Lu Nyen immediately threw herself over, full of grievance. "Brother, Lu Chow Chow cursed me to have an accident abroad." After 3 years of struggle, she had achieved a complete victory and no longer bothered to pretend, directly targeting me. Lu Jing's face was as dark as could be. Without asking for a reason, he came over and slapped me. "Lu Chow Chow, do you want to die?" I was slapped so hard that blood trickled from the corner of my mouth, and the fragility and humility within me shattered instantly. I burst into loud, unrestrained sobs, tears and mucus streaming down my face. Like a disheveled beggar, I frantically clawed at my own hair, letting out suppressed, mournful wails. "Why did you hit me? It was you who asked me if I wanted to study abroad. It was you who asked. You don't love me at all. You never have. You wish I were dead. Will you only be satisfied when I'm dead?" Everyone was shocked, then furious with shame. My mother also dropped her pretense of kindness and scolded sharply, "Lu Chow Chow, what madness is this? Have you no shame?" My father dismissed the maids and then ordered me, "Shut up, you are a daughter of the Lu family, not a shrew." My brother sneered, not saying a word. My lips trembled violently, my fingers shook. And eventually my whole body was trembling. For 3 years, I didn't know what I was living for. My mind went blank, and I could only cry mechanically and question, "Will you only be satisfied if I die?" "Yes, go die," my brother roared, utterly disgusted with me. My parents waved their hands impatiently. "Get out." I stopped trembling, and it seemed my heart stopped beating too. I was muddled yet filled with strength. I turned and rushed upstairs. I dashed all the way up to the 5th floor in one breath. No one stopped me, no one worried. I rushed to the rooftop and ran toward the edge. After climbing over the railing, a nanny below exclaimed, "Miss, don't be impulsive." Everyone in the villa came out to watch me. My parents and brother also came out. Lu Nyen was still secretly laughing, her heart blooming with joy as she snickered. I stood facing the wind. my body alternating between chills and fever. Jump. When will you ever learn to be sensible? You're 18 years old, my mother yelled angrily, thinking I was too embarrassing. So many servants were present, watching the Liu family's daughter go mad. How embarrassing. My father was already too angry to speak. He just waved his hand fiercely, signaling for me to jump. If you have the guts, then jump. My brother stopped me, holding Lu Nian. He spoke coldly. Don't jump here. You'll dirty the floor. I smiled bitterly. Sorry for dirtying your floor. Close your eyes and leap down. I became a dead man. My legs were shattered. My brain splattered. Not a breath left. My soul drifted, and I actually felt quite pleased. I glared fiercely at my own mess of flesh and at my family. If I could speak, I would surely shout, "Look, I'm dead. Are you satisfied now?" I fantasized that my family would finally regret it, that they would finally understand they should have loved me. However, they did not. My father drove away all the nannies, then shook his head coldly and cursed. How childish. My mother trembled a little, but not a single tear fell. She just pursed her lips and sighed deeply. Silly child, so silly. Yet, even as she sighed, she also felt a sense of relief. She finally got rid of me, the burden. My brother stood in front of Lu Nian, frowning as he made a call to arrange for someone to move the body, to be cremated and buried as soon as possible. The only one crying was Lu Nian. She was terrified, trembling all over. But her eyes were clearly filled with triumph. She was completely carefree. She was the only daughter of the Liu family. The family members all comforted her, saying it wasn't her fault, that I brought it upon myself. I was stunned for a moment, gradually fading away. Lu Chaochao, you're really foolish. The intense pain from that moment of death still seems to be lingering, causing me to shiver, as my thoughts returned. My mother on the other end of the phone asked, "Sweetie, why aren't you saying anything?" Mom is asking, "Do you want to study abroad?" "I don't want to," I replied briefly. "I still have class. I'm hanging up now." Oh, well, you really don't want to trouble us at all, my dear daughter. Mom actually loves you very much and hopes you can go abroad for further studies. My mom spoke earnestly. I hung up the phone. Keep learning. After Lu Nian went abroad, my college entrance examination was also approaching, for many children from wealthy families. The college entrance examination is just a small hurdle. It's not even necessary to cross it, but for me, this was the most important turning point in my life. With the top ranking in my grade, I aimed for the nation's highest institution of learning. I was absolutely confident. The moment I walked out of the exam hall, tears streamed down my face. My desk mate rolled his eyes. "What the hell are you crying about? Did you look in the mirror again?" I returned to the apartment and looked in the mirror. I had only bought it recently. I never had the habit of looking in the mirror before. Forget about a full-length mirror. I didn't even have a small makeup mirror to see myself. I relied entirely on the wash basin. Now, I quietly admire myself. It's not about admiring how pretty I've become, nor is it about admiring how fairer my skin has gotten. I simply appreciate that in this lifetime, I've managed to live a decent life. With some money still in my bank card, I rewarded myself with a trip to see the sea. This is the first time in 3 years that I've traveled far from home. I took 2 photos. One is of the ocean, and the other is a selfie. Then, I posted them on my social media for the first time. I didn't know what to write for the caption, so I just added an emoji, a grinning face. My mom was the first to like it. She was shocked. "Chow chow. Is that you?" I replied with a simple, "Yes." My mom asked again, "Is it really you? Have you changed so much?" "Yeah, so much so that even my own mother wouldn't recognize me." My dad didn't give it a like. He sent me a WeChat message. "Where have you been?" I said I went to see the sea. My dad fell silent for a moment and scolded me. "You really are something. I used to ask you to go see the sea, but you wouldn't go. Now you go alone. It's not safe." I didn't reply. In the evening, my brother also liked my post and praised me, saying, "You've grown into a graceful young lady, truly living up to the Liu family genes." I ignored it. Before the college entrance exam results came out, I went to work. After working for half a month, my mother finally found out where I was by asking my teacher. She couldn't help but scold me. "Sweetie, why do you always run off without a word? If something happened, we wouldn't even know. Come back quickly. There's no need for you to work." I said it would be good to earn some tuition money. As there are many expenses in college, my mother laughed in frustration. Is our family short of that little tuition money? Of course it's bad. For 3 years in high school, I never asked my family for money, and you never offered any either. The red envelopes I received when I returned home supported me for 3 years. I smiled without saying a word. My mom was slow to realize, probably suddenly aware of something, and hurriedly asked, "Has your dad never given you any living expenses?" "No." "What about your brother?" "Not him either." With that, I hung up the phone, too busy. The assembly line can't run without me. On the day the results were announced, the whole school celebrated, because I got what I wished for. I was admitted to Peking University. Moreover, I was the top scorer in the city and was interviewed by the city television station. The homeroom teacher was so moved that she cried, repeatedly praising me as a genius. I smiled quietly, then I couldn't smile anymore, because my parents arrived. The teacher invited them to come and take a photo together. My mother was extremely excited, smiling from ear to ear. My father, for once, wasn't being stern. He shook hands with many leaders and talked boastfully. It seems that the title of city's top scorer is still impressive enough, and the wealthy are quite pleased. I turned and walked away, not wanting to take a photo with them. As I walked out of the school gate, a handsome man stepped out of a sports car. My brother, Lu Jing. We locked eyes, and he froze for a moment. "Didn't Mom and Dad say they were coming to see you? Where are you going alone?" "I'm hungry, let's go eat." I continued walking toward the small restaurant not far away. The mapo tofu inside costs 12 yuan. And the stir-fried pork with green peppers costs 13 yuan. They are my favorite dishes. Usually, I would order one of them each day to go with my rice. Today, I decided to splurge and ordered both, eating them as soon as they were served. Lu Jing walked in, coughing incessantly from the choking smoke, and had no choice but to cover his mouth and nose as he sat down beside me. "You're eating this?" he asked, somewhat shocked. I nodded and said it was delicious. Lu Jing frowned deeply, momentarily speechless, then he sighed. "Lu Nian is living much better than you. She spends over 200,000 a month abroad, and I heard she's fooling around every day." Ah, I continued to pick at the tofu. Seeing that I remained silent, Lu Jing suddenly took out a card and handed it to me. "You were the top scorer in the city, which is truly remarkable. As your brother, I'll reward you with 100,000. Take it for your university expenses." He is really generous, rewarding me with half a month's living expenses for Lu Nian. I didn't accept it. He placed the card on the table, looked at me for a long time, and silently walked away. I took Lu Jing's card back to the villa and left it in the living room. Then I packed my last belongings and prepared to head north. Arriving in the capital, the sky was high and the sea was wide. As I was leaving, my parents happened to return. Their faces were grim, and upon seeing me, they suppressed their anger and demanded, "Lu Chao, why didn't you stay to take a photo with us? The school leaders searched for you for a long time and couldn't find you. Do we not care about our dignity?" "I don't know about taking a group photo," I explained and walked out. My father took a deep breath and stared at me intently. My mother suddenly grabbed my hand, her eyes moist. Chao, do you hate us? It's been 3 years, and you've never smiled at us. Now that you've been admitted to Peking University, we don't see you sharing the joy with us. We are your biological parents. After all, biological parents." I stopped, my gaze calmly fixed on her, as if looking at a stranger. Many past events swirled, finally settling into the still waters of a well. Not a single ripple stirs. I responded, "You've misunderstood. I'm just naturally not one to smile." Absurd. My father, furious and flustered, asserted his authority as the head of the family. "Lu Chao, from the very first day you came home, your heart hasn't been with us. We've waited 10 years for you to come back, hoping to get close to you. And what do? You put on a cold face every day. And you don't get along with Nian either. Do we owe you something?" "Yes, you owe me." Finally, a ripple stirred in my heart, like a drop of water, sending waves of emotion. The waves grew larger and larger, eventually swelling into towering, furious waves. I stared at my furious father and my sorrowful mother. I asked them, if I had chosen Lu Nian's room the day I came home, would you have agreed? They were taken aback but immediately nodded. "Of course we agree. You can stay wherever you want. Then call Lu Nian right now and tell her I'm taking her room." I set down my luggage, My parents froze, their eyes darting around. It's the middle of the night over in America right now. Nyen Nyen might be sleeping, good excuse. I then asked, if you were going on a beach vacation and I asked you to wait for me, would you be willing to wait? Of course we would. Didn't I say I was waiting for you back then? Your dad bought the wrong tickets. It made me so angry. My mom chimed in. I chuckled lightly. That day, I came back, but you had already left the day before. My mom's face turned pale, as if her throat had been choked. I continued to ask, on my 18th birthday, if I insisted on going abroad, could I live as freely as Lu Nyen does, with a monthly allowance of 200,000. Little Tiger bot file anti-theft asterisk mark, find book robot choose Little Tiger, stable and reliable asterisk, no pitfalls asterisk, yes, my father answered firmly, alright, I can go abroad now, please help me with the procedures and notify Lu Nyen to pick me up. My gaze is heavy, my father stiffened again, mumbling, I'm afraid it's not appropriate, should we discuss it with Nyen Nyen first, after she wakes up? I smiled, picking up my luggage. I waved goodbye, goodbye, no one came after me, only 2 people. Overwhelmed with shame, anxiously watched me leave. After enrolling at Peking University, I became even more diligent, because I want to be a strong woman standing at the peak, not a true heiress who seeks death and clings to life. During my sophomore year, Lu Jing came to the capital to meet a client and also to see me. As soon as we met, he complained, Lu Nyen has really gone too far, abroad, she's gone mad. I asked what had happened. He hesitated for a long time before gritting his teeth and saying that Lu Nyen had not learned well, having picked up all the bad habits from abroad, gambling, drugs, and prostitution. She missed none of them. Her parents have already gone to catch her themselves and will definitely bring her back to the country. I smiled but said nothing. In the winter of my sophomore year, just before the Chinese New Year, my parents finally brought Lu Nyen back. Lu Nyen had turned completely rotten. She was always bad at heart, she just knew how to put on an act at home. Once she went abroad, with no restrictions and endless money to spend, she naturally went wild and lived a reckless, unrestrained life. After she returned, she still showed no remorse, indulging in day and night entertainment, and even had a fierce conflict with her parents. One late night, my mother suddenly video called me, and I happened to answer it while getting up to use the bathroom. On the other end of the video, my mother was disheveled, with swollen cheeks, and her eyes filled with despair and exhaustion. I asked what had happened. She immediately burst into tears. Your sister went out fooling around in the middle of the night, with 7 or 8 men. It was simply disgraceful. I brought her back. And she actually hit me. Look at my face. Her face was swollen in a rather comical way. I remained silent. My mother wiped her tears, utterly heartbroken. Your father is away on a business trip, and your brother is at the company. I couldn't even hold your sister down by myself. Oh, what a sin from heaven. I shouldn't have indulged your sister in the first place. I thought she was just mischievous by nature, but I never imagined she would be so selfish and stubborn. Mom had a lot of grievances to pour out, but I was very tired, and as I listened, I fell asleep. In my drowsy state, I could only hear Mom's sobbing and her stammered apology. Chow Chow, are you asleep? Mom wanted to say, Mom is sorry for you. I turned over and hung up the video, so noisy. While Lu Nyen was causing chaos at home, I was making great strides at the nation's top university. I became my mentor's favorite student. I made a name for myself in various journals, and I spoke eloquently at academic conferences. By my senior year, I had already become the much-anticipated rising star. My parents and brother had actually been keeping an eye on me all along, often checking on my news, and would always send messages praising me, saying I was the pride of the Lu family. I never replied. It was also this year that my father fell ill, said to be from a fit of rage, vomiting blood all over the floor. My mother and brother repeatedly begged me to go back and visit, saying my father wanted to see me. I happened to be on vacation and planned to go see the ocean. While passing by my hometown, I went back for a quick look. As soon as I entered the villa, instead of talking about my father, my mother eagerly pulled me toward the 3rd floor. I said, "What's wrong?" She didn't answer, pulling me up to the 3rd floor, pointing at the largest and most spacious room with a smile, saying, "Look, dear daughter, this room has been completely renovated. Everything's been replaced. Do you like it? Inside, it was indeed brand new. Even the panda was gone. I didn't have the heart to look further, and instead asked my mom, is Lu Nian not staying here anymore? Mentioning Lu Nian, my mother's face darkened. Her eyes filled with gloom. What right does she have to live here? She's not my biological daughter. Is she even worthy? My mother's words took me by surprise. But my mind wasn't really on that. I just said, oh, and told her I was just passing by to take a look and would be leaving soon. My mother grew anxious, gripping my hand tightly. Why are you in such a hurry? You haven't seen your father yet. He didn't just collapse from anger. He was actually beaten up. I raised an eyebrow. Who would dare hit him? Lu Nian, my mother said through gritted teeth. That despicable creature teamed up with our competitors to try and steal confidential documents. And your father caught them in the act. She had the audacity to attack your father on the spot, stabbing him in the shoulder with a fruit knife. Playing it this big, I was laughing inside, but asked with my mouth, so, did you call the police? Lu Nian must be going to jail, right? My mom shook her head. We want to handle this matter ourselves. Anyway, that beast Lu Nian, we no longer acknowledge him. Is that so? Then you handle it. Seeing that it was getting late, I immediately said my goodbyes. My mother chased after me all the way, begging me to stay for dinner, saying that my brother would bring my father home from the hospital soon. As soon as she finished speaking, my father and Lu Jing really came home. My father was still wrapped in bandages, his face pale and weary. Lu Jing was filled with anger, looking as if he could kill at any moment. Upon seeing me, both of them broke into smiles at the same time. My father took the initiative to greet me. Chow Chow, you're back. I wasn't supposed to be discharged from the hospital yet, but I left early just to see you. I nodded slightly without saying a word. Lu Jing shook my hand and praised, Miss Lu Chow Chow, you are a well-known figure at Peking University with a bright future. Welcome to my humble home. He thought he was being humorous. I was a bit dazed, so the cold and aloof Lu Jing could also have such a side, past and present. After so many years, this is the first time I've seen it. Seeing that I remained silent, Lu Jing felt a bit uneasy and awkward. My mother smoothed things over. It's rare for the whole family to be together. Come in and eat. They gathered around me and ushered me into the house. I checked the time again and shook my head in refusal. No, I'm afraid I'll miss the sunset. I still left. After seeing the sea, I returned to Peking University. Now in my senior year, I teamed up with a few friends and embarked on an entrepreneurial journey. The road hasn't been easy, but it's been incredibly meaningful. By the time I reached my second year of graduate school, my career finally began to bear fruit, and I earned my first pot of gold, 800,000 yuan. Life has also become increasingly busy, balancing both studies and career. I was often so exhausted that I fell asleep as soon as my head hit the pillow, and I no longer paid any attention to the messages from home. After I graduated with my master's degree, a few old friends and I started a company, finally gaining some respectability of our own. The money we made was neither too much nor too little, but it was nothing compared to my wealthy parents, of course. Still, the independence and sense of accomplishment were more than enough to make up for it. It was also at this time that I met Lu Nian. She actually came to find me alone. As soon as she saw me, she slapped me. Fortunately, I reacted quickly and blocked it. Or else my face would have been swollen from her slap. Without any nonsense, I slapped her back. She couldn't dodge in time, and I slapped her so hard she saw stars, with blood all over the corner of her mouth. She spat and cursed at me viciously. My whole family has abandoned me. Are you satisfied? I took out a tissue to wipe my hands and didn't answer. She gritted her teeth. Lu Chow Chow, you've won. I never would have thought that your decision to distance yourself from the family was actually a major strategic move. You retreated in order to advance. What a ruthless tactic. Have you watched too many gangster movies? I glanced up, feeling helpless. Is it possible that I distanced myself from the family simply for my own sake? Bullshit. Lu Nian's eyes were wide with fury. Mom and Dad cut ties with me, and my brother even hit me in public. All because of you. They love you now. They don't love me anymore. I shook my head and called the police. The police took Lu Nian away. After finishing the statement, I informed my mother. When she received my call, her voice trembled with excitement. Chow Chow, you finally called me. It's been so many years since you came home. Are you doing well? I heard you started a company. Are you tired? I interrupted her. Come pick up your daughter. She's at Chaoyang police station. What? I said a few words briefly and was about to hang up when my mother immediately burst into tears. Chow Chow, you are my daughter. Lun Yan has been driven away by us. I don't want to bring her home. I want to bring you home. Okay, no. I am very busy. No, thank you. After being named one of the capital's top 10 outstanding young entrepreneurs, the end of the year is drawing near. Standing before the floor-to-ceiling window in the CEO's office, I took off my high heels, picked up a glass of red wine, and quietly sipped it while admiring the bustling night view outside. At this moment, I am 30 years old. From 15 to 30, I have walked for 15 years. This road has truly not been easy to walk. Jumping off a building, however, is easy. It only takes 3 years to transform from a desperate true heiress into a powerful woman standing atop the mountain peak. It takes an extra 12 years. I am grateful for those additional 12 years. Over the course of 12 years, many things have changed. For instance, the leading enterprise in Sioux City has collapsed. The very one my parents built. When the tree falls, the monkeys scatter. Their fate was not a good one, and it is said that even their villa was mortgaged. Lun Yan went to prison because, after losing her source of income, she turned to illicit activities and even caused a death. She was sentenced to 20 years. As for Lu Jing, in order to make a comeback, he came to the capital and used his last remaining funds to establish a new company. At this moment, he is waiting outside for me to see him. From morning until night, the secretary gently knocked on the door. Mr. Lu, that gentleman still refuses to leave. I nodded, put down the red wine, put on my high heels, and walked out. The down and out Lu Jing quickly stood up with a fawning smile, his eyes filled with an unshakable sorrow. Once handsome and dashing, he now seemed to have aged 20 years, appearing flustered and no longer exuding his former vigor. When we met, he no longer called me Chow Chow, but instead greeted me as President Lu. I had my secretary pour him a glass of water and said with a smile, Mr. Lu Jing, I have reviewed your cooperation proposal. I am very sorry, but it does not meet my expectations. Lu Jing gave a dry laugh, his chapped lips twitching a couple of times, but he couldn't speak for a long while. I stood up. If there's nothing else, I'll be going. It's getting late. Lu Jing got up to see me out and suddenly spoke up. Little sister, Mom and Dad miss you so much. Could you go back and see them? They talk about you every day. I paused, but before I could respond, Lu Jing sniffled, his voice breaking with emotion. You've become so distant. We're still family. After all, could you not be so cold? I turned to gaze at him, and once again, the scene from my previous life flashed through my mind, when he dragged me out of Lun Yan's room and humiliated me mercilessly. At 15, I never begged you not to be so heartless, so now, you shouldn't beg me not to be so heartless either. I gave my answer. Lu Jing stiffened, his head drooping, all spirit gone, and I, stepping in high heels, humming a tune softly under the lazy night sky, walked toward my future filled with anticipation. That pile of rotten flesh lying in the filthy blood no longer needs to yearn for anyone's love. She mustered all her strength to get up, smiled, and loved herself with immense pride. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. Seeing the villain tormenting the male and female leads to the brink of death. I was so furious that I reincarnated into the novel. I immediately shouted the villain's name, trying to stop him. Who would have thought? A child's crisp voice came from outside the alley. Here, the person before me had sharp eyes and let out a mocking laugh. I don't remember me, but you remember my son, huh? Reading a novel in the early hours, the protagonist's love story was entangled for 300 chapters under the villain's relentless interference. It tortured me to the point of questioning life itself. I gritted my teeth. If I ever meet that villain, I'll definitely give him a big slap. A voice inexplicably appeared in the air. Okay, my vision went black. Then I found myself standing on the street, wearing a nightgown. If only they had given me a change of clothes. Before I could even curse in anger, I saw a crowd gathered around a man and a woman in the alley. At the very center of the crowd, someone leaned casually against the wall, a cigarette dangling from their lips, their eyelids drooping lazily. Their expression relaxed and indifferent, yet there was a hint of defiance between his brows. The silver earring on his ear cartilage sparkled under the sunlight. It was utterly tantalizing. TSK, they even brought my nightgown over. Why didn't the bed come along? Sleep, I want to sleep with him right here. But soon I noticed something unusual about this man. The black-clad figures around him were all slightly bowing, as if awaiting his command. Is he perhaps the villain? I reveal an indescribable smile. If the villain is this handsome, the male lead must be. My gaze shifts to the man who's been cornered. He stood tall and slender, his gaze aloof and distant upon lifting his eyes. His sharp, well-defined features resembled a meticulously crafted work of art. Even when cornered, his posture remained as straight and unyielding as a pine tree. Well, truly worthy of being the aloof and unattainable male lead. Time to sleep. Go to sleep, all of you, as I was lost in thought. That voice appeared again. Sleep my ass. The male lead belongs to the female lead. My hand paused mid-air, and I looked again at the so-called female lead. Damn, this stunning beauty is simply breathtakingly gorgeous. I grew increasingly excited and waved my hand grandly. Sleep, this one too, voice. My bed is big. Is it too much to sleep 3 at once? The voice remained silent for a long time before finally explaining the current situation to me. I'm the system. You've traveled through time. And then, I nodded, ready to continue listening. The system was puzzled. What else should I tell you? Haha, what do you think? I forced a fake smile. I don't know what triggered the system, but it suddenly went crazy for no reason. What do I know? I'm just a lowly system. I don't even get paid, so why should I work myself to death? No, absolutely not. I'm slacking off. Slacking off like there's no tomorrow. Keh. No one can stop me from slacking. What a truly awe-inspiring work ethic, just like me, so relatable. I smiled kindly and said, then let's both just slack off like this. It would be even better if they could inexplicably give me some money too. Everyone says time can take everything away, so why can't it take away my poverty? Damn it, but the system suddenly functioned normally. You can't. Your mission is to prevent the antagonist from interfering with the relationship between the male and female leads. Fail and die, not your life. So you say it so casually. Huh, the system laughed. Yeah, and don't forget the promised slap. Remember that. I glanced down the alley. No, bro, could you at least check how many people are on the other side first? If I were to go up there, the little meat on my bones wouldn't even be enough for them to pound into beef balls. The system doesn't care. The system just wants it, just like my unreasonable client. Damn it, under the system's instigation, mainly its threats, I forced myself to walk into the alley with feigned calm. At this moment, the villain had already grabbed the male lead by the collar and was about to strike. I quickly shouted to stop him. Xia Changfeng. I think that's the villain's name, right? I don't remember at all. Which damn reader actually remembers names? As I shouted this, everyone in the alley turned to look at me. The villain's raised fist froze mid-swing, then a pair of eyes slowly fixed on me, unblinking. His eyes were pitch black, and his smile seemed faint. It sent a shiver down my spine. Damn it, if I had known I would time travel, I would never have complained. Regret, deep regret. I pretended to shake the brick in my hand. I've already called the police, you. Before the words could be finished, they were abruptly cut off by a crisp, here. I instinctively turned around. A little boy stood at the entrance of the alley, fair and delicate like carved jade, eagerly raising his small hand that resembled a lotus root, his face flushed with excitement. A pair of bright eyes stared intently at me. What an adorable child. Too bad it's human, not quite as cute anymore. But what did he just say? Before I could recall, the child came running over and hugged my leg. I'm Fong, yeah. Are you my mommy? Mommy's dress is so pretty, but mommy is prettier than the dress. What a discerning little human. She saw through my beauty at first sight. But please don't claim kinship recklessly. Though my words may be flirtatious, my private life is as chaste as clear soup. I was just about to sternly correct the child. Wait a minute. Who did he say he was? Xia Changfeng. I stared blankly at the kid in front of me, then turned to look at the villain in the alley. Who is he then? The villain had sharp features, and when he saw me looking at him, he scoffed. You don't remember me, but you remember your son. Humph, you're really ruthless. I pointed at myself in confusion, with a look of disbelief. Huh, are you talking to me? The person before me had increasingly sharp features, a slightly mocking smile playing at the corners of their lips. They advanced toward me step by step. The sound of leather shoes striking the ground now seemed deafeningly loud. I instinctively stepped back, but they had already anticipated my move. One hand held me tightly, refusing to let go. Damn man, such brute strength. Am I really going to get beaten into minced meat? In pain, I glared at him resentfully, only to meet his gaze directly. He inexplicably froze, suddenly stopping, then he let go of his hand. He even considerately took off his coat and draped it over me. Ha! What a weirdly inconsistent attitude, but only now did I notice that his hand had been trembling slightly all along, though I couldn't tell since when. My gaze traveled slowly upward along his wrist. Xiaoyu's eyelids drooped slightly, his raven feather lashes fluttering gently, his expression suddenly softening. After a long while, he finally spoke in measured tones. Why did you come out only wearing a nightgown? Aren't you afraid of Feng Feng laughing at you? Huh, wait, bro. Why the sudden change? As soon as these words were spoken, the child beside them grew displeased. I would never, no matter what. I love mom the most. With that, Xia Changfeng tucked his small hand into mine and even gave me an ingratiating smile. Cautiously, what on earth is going on? I frantically called out to the system in my mind, but there was no response. No, how could there be something in this world even more unreliable than me? It's simply baffling. I had no choice but to try hard to recall the novel I had skimmed through. Fortunately, the novel had quite a bit of description about the antagonist. I still have some memory of this child, faintly recall. It seems to be the child of the villain and his first love, but back then, the first love only left behind a child before mysteriously disappearing. The villain searched for years, yet couldn't find the slightest trace. I glanced at the villain. With this kind of setup, could it be that I look exactly like his first love? I raised an eyebrow. Got it. This is the identity the system arranged for me in this world. Who would have thought the system, without saying a word, had already planned so much? Good. It's one that gets things done. No movement is just no movement. I straightened my back and took the opportunity to hold Xia Changfeng's hand in return, smiling with a benevolent expression. Mommy loves you the most too. Gotta nail that loving mother image first. Seeing the child's face brimming with joy, I turned my gaze back to the villain. Damn it, what's the villain's name again? At a loss for words, the villain unconsciously clenched his fist. Xiaoyu, I nodded repeatedly. Oh, Mr. Xiaoyu clenched his fist even tighter, but I didn't notice at all and was still trying hard to maintain my amnesiac beauty persona. After talking nonsense for a few minutes, my heart died. Aha. Only a fool would believe this kind of story. I understand. You've suffered all these years. Xiaoyu tightened his slipping suit jacket, comforting me. His expression was earnest, eyes filled with a hint of pain. It's my fault for not being able to find you. The fool not only appeared but even reflected on themselves. I looked at Xiaoyu with a shocked expression but played along. Yes, I've really had it tough. Well, as for exactly how tough, let's not get into that. When he saw me, Xia Changfeng insisted on taking me home. I seized the opportunity to pull Xiaoyu away. Better not let him remember there's still a male lead left to beat up. Who would have thought the male lead would jump out on his own? Shen Juanxing quickened his pace, trying to catch up with me and Xiaoyu, with a look of hesitation on his face. Oh my God, just stop right there. Don't take advantage of your good looks to do whatever you want, okay? I looked at him with a face full of frustration, then, in a few quick steps, I pulled Xiaoyu away. Only after getting in the car did I finally relax a little. Hero, a life-saving favor is worth mentioning. Remember to repay me, preferably with tens of millions. Gotta say, the original novel truly lives up to being the domineering CEO story I carefully picked. Xiaoyu's villa is nothing short of luxurious. It totally hit my sweet spot for wealth. Xia Changfeng pulled me upstairs, his tone brimming with excitement. Mom, come quick. We've always had a room ready for you. This is the cloakroom, where Mom's little dresses are kept. This is the game room. Dad said Mom loves playing games. This is, Xia Changfeng introduced enthusiastically, finally whispering into my ear. Mom, I'll tell you a secret. The wall by the head of the bed is filled with money. Dad said you love money the most, Mom. Do you like this room? Oh my, it's hard not to like. My hobbies are exactly the same as your mom's. What a coincidence, don't you think? I turned around in the house again and again, touching the wall over and over. What a blissful wall, what a blissful me. If I had known I would time travel, I would have complained earlier. Ha 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 ha. Xiaoyu has been following behind me and Xia Changfeng. Although not speaking, his gaze has been fixed on the two of us, never once looking away. When Xia Changfeng finally tired himself out, he slowly approached me and said, I missed you so much, welcome back. Meeting his gaze, I froze in surprise, but soon she averted her gaze, avoiding his line of sight. Judging by this, Xiaoyu is still quite infatuated with his first love. Then why would he compete with Shen Juanxing for the female lead? The image of the female lead's face flashed through my mind. Oh, never mind, that face. I also want to butt in, besides. I turned my head to look at Xiaoyu again. He didn't even recognize the difference between me and his first love. I suppose this affection was just an act. It was all just a performance in front of Feng. In the evening, to showcase my nurturing motherly image, I volunteered to tell Xia Ruffing a bedtime story. Haha, Xia Ruffing was still awake when I fell asleep. Damn it, being a loving mother is so exhausting. Well, think of it this way. At least one of them is asleep. How can that not be considered a success? Half asleep, I heard the door creak slightly. Someone came in, then my body felt weightless, as if someone had picked me up. Then I was enveloped in a scent of mint. It was Xiaoyu. I became somewhat alert, struggling to stay conscious. Man, what do you want to do? But Xiaoyu just carried me to the bed in my room. Hiss, that's it, just like that. It's over, Xiaoyu. You've disappointed me. After a long while, I waited until I was nearly dead asleep. Yet still didn't see his next move. Just as I was about to give up, Xiaoyu suddenly moved again. He covered my hand. Then, he slowly guided my hand to brush over his eyebrows, eyes, the bridge of his nose, and the tip of his lips. Finally, he pressed his entire face into my palm. I could even feel the warmth and tingling gradually spreading across my palm. Xiaoyu, you're so perverted. I held my breath, completely wide awake now. Then I heard him chuckle softly and sigh. Only like this would you come back. After all, Anyan, I was deeply shocked, yet I understood, though I don't know what exactly only like this refers to, but for a villain, when their first love returns, going a bit crazy is perfectly normal, understandable, a common plot in novels. But soon I heard him say again, however, this time I won't let you escape, not even the system can. Me? Wait a minute, when did the story start going wrong? How does he even know about the system? Could it be? A sudden realization hit me. His first love was also a transmigrated strategist. Oh my God, a fellow traveler. Just as I was smugly pleased with my brilliant deduction, a sudden itch crept into my hand. I instinctively blurted out, "Stop scratching, that's the ticklish spot." As soon as the words were spoken, the atmosphere froze instantly. Why the hell did I open my mouth? Why did I have to say anything? I nervously cracked open my eyes to see Xiaoyu watching me with leisurely composure. Noticing I was awake, he even raised an eyebrow at me. My suspended heart finally died. I forced a smile. Hey, what a coincidence. I just woke up. As soon as the words left my mouth, I wanted to slap myself. Why did you have to say that extra bit? Shen Yan. Xiaoyu's lips curled into a smile, just watching me without saying a word. No, say something, will you? Your silence is making the atmosphere so awkward for me. You know, I'm starting to lose it. After a long standoff between us, I couldn't hold back any longer, replying to me, how many years in prison does that get you? A mouth that only knows how to eat but can't speak up. Speak up, hurry up. Xiaoyu heard this but didn't get angry. Instead, he suddenly burst into laughter. It's been a while since I last heard you scold me. Scold me more. I love it, isn't it, bro? You're being a bit too perverted. I silently raised my eyes to look at him, not daring to utter a word, afraid he'd get off on it again. Seeing my silence, Xiaoyu lowered his eyes slightly in disappointment. Just as I thought. Good thing I didn't speak. Then I saw him shrug nonchalantly again. If you heard it, you heard it. It was meant for you anyway. Me? I tilted my head in confusion. He continued, with a look of utter certainty, I knew all along you weren't asleep. When you're truly asleep, your posture is always all over the place, sleeping so properly. That's not you. When you're really asleep, you always lie on your right side, and your hands never stay obediently under the covers. Anian, I know. A mischievous glint flashed in his eyes, revealing a youthful spirit that didn't quite match his age, as if showing off how well he knew me, yet I stood frozen. This was indeed my sleeping habit, and my childhood nickname was also Anian. Was Xiaoyu's first love like this too? This is way too similar to me. A flash of insight. I dare not let it surface. My heart inexplicably started beating a little faster, so I let out a sharp scream in my mind. System, system. This time, the system didn't fail to respond and answered me, but soon fell silent again. All I could hear was the constant clatter of keyboard keys echoing in my mind, along with the system's incessant muttering, "What's going on? Why can't I find anyone with the keyword, first love? This doesn't make sense. Where did this foolish host get the idea to assign themselves the identity of first love? I'm done. Are you cursing me in my own head? You're being way too blatant about this. Besides, wasn't this first love identity something you came up with for me?" I questioned the system. The system screamed in disbelief. "I found it for you." What a huge pot of dirty water. Do you think I'm that diligent of a system? Me? What a sharp question. Damn it. So, what's going on now? The system paused, and the sound of typing in the mind gradually faded away. It doesn't know. It's completely justified. Then you'll be the first love, for now. I'll go check at headquarters. Not sure when I'll be back. Do your best. Remember to complete the mission. Gone. Just left like that. I refused to give up and called out a few more times. Heh, not a single response. You're in luck if you want a girlfriend to fall from the sky. I'm about to jump off a building. My expression shifted repeatedly, while Xiaoyu simply leaned against the wardrobe by the bed, silently watching me. His gaze was lazy, the corners of his lips slightly curled. Though undeniably handsome, I couldn't help but sense a hint of mockery in his demeanor. Talking to that system again. He leaned in, his gaze intense, his fingers traced my face. Finally pausing at the corner of my lips, a chill ran through me. I don't like it, Anian. It's fine. I don't like it either. Just as I was about to comfort her, Xiaoyu tightly grabbed me by the waist. Getting closer, my breath nearly stopped. My hand was forced to rest on his chest to steady the distance. Firm, my eyes flickered. Xiaoyu's gaze shimmered like clear water, his voice soft and husky. How about we just chat for a while? This is blatant seduction. For a moment. Things like first love and system were all thrown to the back of my mind. There's something I need to do. I firmly shook my head and rejected Xiaoyu's suggestion. The atmosphere is so good. How could we just chat? I said with a serious face. How about a kiss instead? Might as well put that idle mouth to use. Xiaoyu froze for a moment. Then his shoulders and chest trembled slightly as laughter made his torso rise and fall. All right. I want to kiss mommy too, but daddy and mommy. Do you have to be so close to kiss? Xia Changfeng stood at the doorway at some point, holding a pillow and tilting his head as he watched me and Xiaoyu. His eyes were full of curiosity and excitement. I was so frightened that my head spun, and I immediately pushed Xiaoyu away, putting on a kindly smile. I started to make up a story. What do you mean, kissing? Your dad just had something in his eye. And I leaned over to blow it out for him. Essential reasons for fooling children. Ask which child hasn't been tricked like this. But Xia Ruffing wasn't buying it at all. He shook his head firmly. That's not true, Mom. I heard it clearly. You said to Dad. How about a little kiss? Me, youth is great. The mind works better. Remembering it so vividly, I gave Xiaoyu beside me a meaningful look. Speak up, will you? Are you his father or am I? The kid just saw something inappropriate. Shouldn't you do something about it? Xiaoyu stepped forward and calmly picked up Xia Changfeng. Only I and your mom can kiss, understand? Feng Feng. Xia Ruffing pouted, somewhat unconvinced. Xiaoyu patted his head and then kissed Xia Ruffing on the cheek. But both your mom and I can kiss your little face. Hearing this, I quickly leaned over and kissed Xia Changfeng too. Yes, your dad is right. Damn, Xiaoyu is making my parenting style look so outdated. I'll start reading, Tato-chan. The little girl at the window, first thing tomorrow morning, time to study pedagogy. This system is seriously messed up. He left without a word and never showed up again. It was truly the epitome of slacking off. Not only that, but he also deliberately planted something in my mind before leaving. Every morning upon waking, my brain automatically plays. It's another energetic day. Off to complete the noble tasks assigned by the great system, me, damn system. Here I am all alone, like an orphan. Forget about stopping CIEU from interfering with the male and female lead's mission completion. Haha, I don't even know where he goes every day, so I could only pretend to casually ask every day, CIEU, what are you going out for? CIEU, are you going straight to the company? CIEU, after you finish handling your company matters, you should come straight back, right? No other plans. So very casual. But CIEU just smiled and patiently explained everything to me in detail. Then, as he was about to leave, he carefully and cautiously pulled me into an embrace, as if holding some precious treasure, and every time I look into CIEU's eyes, brimming with undisguised affection, I instinctively avert my gaze. After all, I am not her, but what if, I am, system, if you don't come back soon, I'm going to side with the villains. He's so good, what's wrong with meddling a bit between the male and female leads? Just as my moral boundaries were teetering on the edge. The male lead arrived. As I just woke up, I was silent for a long time when I saw Shen Juanxing in the living room. I even doubted whether I was still dreaming. Oh my god, how could someone walk right into the villain's lair on their own? I hurriedly walked towards him. When Shen Juanxing saw me, he also stood up, inexplicably somewhat flustered, just like that day in the alley. He seemed to have something to say but hesitated. Yet for some reason, I felt he looked even more handsome than he did that day, truly worthy of being the male lead. Your charm will only grow with each passing day. I nodded, signaling Shen Juanxing to take a seat. He cleared his throat, the sound like a secluded mountain stream. Long time no see. I miss you so much, almost identical to what CIEU said that night. No wonder they're rivals entangled for hundreds of chapters. They really are in sync, but does the female lead Yu Qinghuan know that you're thinking about me? I recoiled in shock, shaking my hands in panic. No, you don't. No one is allowed to break up my ship, not even myself. Hearing my words, Shen Juanxing's body swayed almost imperceptibly, as if struck by some blow. After a moment of silence, his voice came out slightly hoarse. Now that you're back, are you going to take away even my right to miss you? Huh? Shen Juanxing raised his eyes, the corners of which had unknowingly turned slightly red, his upturned phoenix eyes swirling with emotions I couldn't comprehend. In the end, he feigned nonchalance once more. How has CIEU treated you these days? Has he been unkind to you? If he hasn't treated you well, you can move in with me. I also love the wind, and I'd be happy to take it with me, as long as you go. Shen Juanxing looked at me, as if expecting me to say, yes, am I also a part of your play? No one told me. I was completely confused. Shen Juanxing, however, seemed to understand and forced a bitter smile. Yeah, why would CIEU treat you badly? Shen Yan, I've never really understood. Back when we were young, you always stood up for me, so how did you end up loving CIEU instead? Just like this time, you clearly have no memory, yet you instinctively followed CIEU. Shen Yan, why, this isn't fair. It's not fair to me. Shen Juanxing gazed at me with a heavy intensity, his Adam's apple bobbing visibly, his feather-like eyelashes trembling slightly from restraint. No, why are you still playing the question and answer game with yourself? But, bro, listen to me, I'm not that real first love you're talking about, and I don't understand any of the things you're saying. Stop crying already, your crying makes me want to tease you even more. I was just about to comfort Shen Juanxing when an inexplicable image flashed before my eyes. I was forcibly dragging a young boy to apologize to another boy. The young man looked arrogant, but after glancing at me, he reluctantly apologized. Although I clearly helped the second young man, my gaze kept lingering on the first one. I froze, another memory flashing through my mind. A woman lay somewhere, drenched in sweat, her face deathly pale. She yelled into the air, "System, tell that damn CIEU, if I die just like this, he has to burn paper money for me every day. If I run out of money in the underworld, I might just come back to haunt him. Never mind, I'm afraid he'd enjoy it too much. Tell him to take good care of our son. If he wants to find another woman, fine, damn it, no he can't. CIU, you know how petty I can be. If you dare to look for someone else, you're done for. The woman rambled on for a long time before finally turning her head away, casting a lingering glance to the side. Her eyes never opened again. She was dead. I successfully saw her face, identical to mine. This is me. It's me who died. Damn it. I think I really am CIU's first love. Just as I was about to ask Shinjuanqing more, CIU burst in through the door. He headed straight for me and Shinjuanqing, furious, as if catching someone in the act. He grabbed Shinjuanqing by the collar. Didn't I say you can't approach her without my permission? Shinjuanqing wasn't intimidated. Maintaining the same posture, he continued with a mocking expression, why? What, after all these years, are you still afraid I'll take Shen Yan away from you? Now Shen Yan is not only back, but she's also lost her memory. Who she'll end up loving is still anyone's guess. CIU, can you really stop it? After these words, CIU's face had already darkened, his expression tense, his eyes as cold as ice, yet he did not voice any rebuttal, only the corners of his lips pressed into a tighter line. I stood by, trembling with fear. What's going on? How did I suddenly get caught up in a battle between experts? From the looks of it, it's because of me. No worries, I have a good solution, just a mere two. Oh, this method doesn't seem to work. How infuriating. Watching the two of them at a stalemate, I slowly raised my hand to draw attention. Would you like to explain to me, one of the parties involved, what exactly is going on? Family, who understands me, my life? As far as I know nothing. When I spoke up, both of them fell silent again. Wait. Weren't they just arguing fiercely a moment ago? Now that I've spoken, they've all turned mute. My gaze shifted between the two of them. Cold violence. Men really are no good. I angrily tried to flip the table. Damn it, couldn't budge it. This is so awkward. I should just walk away. Perfect timing to go out for a stroll. My balance hasn't hit zero recently. Hee. Only after becoming wealthy did I realize that the items in the mall are actually meant to be bought and taken home. I used to think they were just for display. Haha, amnesia. That one, the voice behind me sounded slightly hesitant. Who calls someone by their character trope? I'm going to see who it is. I turned my head back. Yu Qingwan. Today, she was wearing a trench coat, walking with a heroic and spirited demeanor, making her whole person dazzlingly radiant. So what if she calls me an idiot? I beamed with a smile. Yes. It's me. Yu Qingwan raised an eyebrow and asked. CIEU's runaway first love from back then. Seems like it's me. Since we're on the topic, I curiously countered. Do you know something too? Yu Qingwan shook her head. I don't know the specifics either. I've only heard some rumors. 3 years ago, you suddenly disappeared while pregnant, and not long after, Feng inexplicably appeared at the Xia family's doorstep. Everyone said you abandoned your husband and child and left on your own. Yu Qingwan looked at me teasingly. What a huge pot of dirty water. I quickly waved my hands. I'm definitely not that kind of person. I could never abandon a beauty like you. Don't worry. Yu Qingwan nodded. CIU didn't believe it either. Back then, he searched for you all over the world. Later, he suddenly calmed down and stopped looking. Everyone thought it was because of the child, but only Shinjuanqing and I knew. He secretly approached us, asking us to act in a play with him. He offered me 50 million, ridiculous. I don't need that kind of money, so I refused several times, until he knelt before me, begging me to just act in this one play with him. He said if you'd act this scene with him, you could come back. Yu Qingwan glanced at me and continued. I still remember the look in his eyes when he turned to me. My heart softened, and I agreed. I just never thought it would last 3 years. She gazed into the distance, her eyes filled with melancholy. Then she covered my hand with hers. Shen Yan. Why are you trembling? I followed her gaze and thought, indeed, why am I trembling? I just imagined CIU kneeling on the ground for a moment, that's all. Why are you trembling? But why did CIU say that after this play is over, I would come back? Why did it have to be this play with Yu Qingwan and Shinjuanqing? I couldn't figure it out no matter how hard I tried, because the essence of acting is not acting. The system in my mind suddenly appeared, answering my question. Its tone was unlike its usual madness. instead carrying a hint of steadiness. I was about to continue asking when a sudden dizziness overwhelmed me. The system had pulled me into the consciousness space. A massive screen flickered before my eyes, with me as the main character. The system said, "At headquarters, I recovered some memories. I think maybe you should take a look too." What? You actually meant it when you said you were going to headquarters. You're not slacking off after all. Oh. Unbelievable. According to the memories retrieved by the system, I finally learned the truth of everything. It turns out the beginning of everything wasn't 3 years ago, but 13 years ago. 13 years ago, I was not yet 11 years old when I inexplicably crossed over into this world. I was also given a mission, to save the gloomy antagonist. Just like this time, failure meant death. Afraid of dying, I diligently carried out my tasks, keeping a close eye on Xiaoyu every day to prevent him from provoking the male lead, Shen Juanxing. The subsequent development was also to my liking. The two of them became good brothers, even though they still occasionally found each other annoying. But as they grew older, the plot development became more and more off track. I fell in love with Xiaoyu, while Shen Juanxing drifted further and further away from us. The system warned me. Falling in love with a mission character would lead to no good outcome, let alone the fact that it didn't align with the plot's direction. But a young man's love is not so easily extinguished. I ignored the system's warnings and fell deeper into love, until I became pregnant. I don't belong to this world, and my child is destined to be rejected by it. The system told me I had to choose between my child and myself. My reason tells me I should choose myself, but how can I choose myself? When I inexplicably crossed over, I was no longer myself. I am like a caged bird, yet the jailer asks me why I am not free. So, rather than saying I chose the child, it's more accurate to say I refused to choose. As for Xiaoyu, I have wronged him. Thinking of this, I glanced at the system beside me. But you saved me, the system nodded. When you were dying in childbirth back then, I secretly opened a passage to the original world and sent your consciousness back. To prevent headquarters from noticing, I erased your memories. That's why you don't remember anything now. The system let out a bitter laugh. But in the end, they still found out. I furrowed my brows slightly. System, you'll be punished. This isn't right. The system suddenly burst into laughter. It's fine, they just took my memories. Then I went a little crazy. Honestly, this mental state feels kinda great. I never thought I'd hear those words come out of your mouth one day. When you were dating Xiaoyu, I told you so many times, but you never listened. I was speechless for a moment and quickly changed the subject. So, how exactly did I come back? The system quickly replied. After you left, Xiaoyu almost went insane. To maintain the balance of the small world, headquarters also tried to erase his memories of you, but he kept remembering them over and over again. Sending other transmigrators to guide and heal him all ended in failure. In the end, headquarters had no choice but to send someone to persuade him. But upon learning the truth, Xiaoyu became even more deranged. He began directly provoking the headquarters, even teaming up with the male and female leads to turn the plot upside down. He reverted to being that gloomy and irritable villain again. He just wants you to come back. At this point, the system paused. It asked in confusion, Shen Yan, why do you think he's doing this? Yes, why is that? I love Xiaoyu, but after the system erased my memories, I never remembered him again. The system treated me well too, but after losing my memories, it never recognized me when we met again. Xiaoyu, why is it that you can remember me over and over again? When I returned to the real world and opened my eyes, I was already lying in a hospital ward. A small bed was set up on the left side, with Xia Ruffing sleeping inside. His little face was all scrunched up. He didn't seem to be sleeping well. I straightened up and glanced to the right. Xiaoyu was half leaning on the hospital bed with his eyes closed, resting, his expression weary and indifferent. Haha, the left and right guardians. Just when they should be awake, not a single one was. I kept looking left and right, my neck aching from turning, unsure where to focus my gaze. One son, one husband, a bit tricky, so I decided to wake them all up and have them look at me together. It's absolutely perfect. There aren't many smart and clear-headed people like me left. As soon as Xia Ruffing woke up, he immediately threw himself into my arms and hugged me tightly. Mom, Mom, Mom. Just like the Calabash brothers calling for their grandpa. Emma, my head hurts. as soon as Xiaoyu woke up. He kept pulling me to check on me, calling for doctors and nurses, afraid that I might still be feeling unwell. Emma, I'm so exhausted, why don't both of you just go back to sleep? It was my fault for not recognizing the piece when I saw it. On the way home, I secretly asked little Xia roughing from the back seat whether Xiaoyu and Shen Juanxing had gotten into fights at home. Xia Changfeng shook his head in confusion. I don't know. Mom's not here. I don't want to see Dad. Mom wants to know. Feng Feng will help Mom find out. Xia roughing patted his chest and said he would take care of it. Woo woo, truly Mommy's good baby. Mommy's gossip depends on you. Xia Changfeng looked confident, then opened his mouth with the first sentence. Dad, Mom wants to know if you got into a fight with Uncle Shen Juanxing today. Hurry up and tell Mom. Me, child. Who taught you to ask like that? I love chatting with my son so much. It gives me a sense of peace like being 6 feet under. Xiaoyu gave me a fleeting glance, then let out a scoff. Didn't plan to at first. Might have to go later. I quickly averted my gaze. Well, this ceiling is truly ceiling-like. Shen Juanxing, I really owe you an apology. After a long time had passed, my memory still hadn't returned. Xiaoyu said it was because I didn't love him enough. Oh my God, my memory has been erased. It would be strange if you could remember. Xiaoyu looked somewhat aggrieved, saying that he still remembered me. I also want to know, how come you still remember? I refused to be outdone and retorted. What do you love about me? Go on, I'd like to see how many things you can list. Xiaoyu meticulously enumerated and actually came up with dozens of reasons. Even trivial matters from over a decade ago were dug up as evidence. Huh, what a love-struck guy. Damn, he really seems to love me. If Xiaoyu keeps bringing this up every time we argue in the future, how will I ever win a fight? Oh no, this is bad news. I immediately voiced my concerns to the system, tried to make it go to headquarters and steal my memories back. The system fell silent for a moment, then asked if I was sick. Heartbroken, I realized its cold mechanical mouth could only utter icy words. My tears fell like rain, heavier than the day Yipping went to ask her dad for money. Really can't, for the sake of my future happy life. The system replied without hesitation. Get lost, alright, actually I didn't really want you to go get it either. LOL, I was just saying, ha ha ha, so funny, you didn't actually believe it, did you? Ha, I'm definitely not triggered. Xiaoyu, there will be plenty of time. I don't believe this one thing can control me for the rest of my life. Shen Juanxing came to see me several times afterward. He asked if I still hadn't regained my memory and if I truly wouldn't choose again. Allowing Xiaoyu to bully me like before was just an act. Whatever he can give you, I can give you the same, maybe even better. Shen Juanxing looked at me with eager anticipation. I was sweating bullets. Damn kid, you really don't know how to pick the right moment to poach someone. Xiaoyu's face darkened beside him. You didn't notice at all. Sure enough, Xiaoyu went crazy that night. Anian, don't look at him. Look at me. Why won't you look at me? Be gentle with me. Anian, pitifully pleading. Haha, gentle with you. Who is the one in pain now? Extra story, Shen Juanxing. Xiaoyu and I have known each other since childhood. Our relationship has always been rather terrible. Until Shen Yan appeared, she was determined to mend the relationship between me and Xiaoyu. The mere sight of him makes me sick to my stomach. How could it possibly be mended? If this can bring Shen Yan joy, then I am willing to laugh and chat with Xiaoyu, willing to call him brother. What a coincidence, Xiaoyu thinks the same way, so we finally had a moment of silent understanding, yet he remained utterly repulsive. But compared to what came after, I'd rather every day stayed exactly as it was. If only I could always see Shen Yan's yesterday. Extra chapter, Xiaoyu. I still remember how Shen Yan looked on the day she disappeared. The breeze brushed through the strands of hair in front of her face. She turned her head to wave at me, smiling brightly. I'll be right back. But she never returned. I searched every corner of Yanghuai City over and over again, but couldn't find her. Shen Juanxing flew back overnight from abroad and gave me a stern scolding. I didn't fight back. I only hoped he would send people to search too. Others said Shen Yan had long since met with misfortune. I didn't believe it, but every time I close my eyes, I see her mangled, bloody form. As I searched, I began praying to the bodhisattvas and Buddhas I had never believed in during the first half of my life. It was my helplessness that made me beg for the Buddha's divine intervention. Let Shen Yan return home safely. If only Shen Yan could return, I would spare no cost. No matter the price, the Buddha was divine, but only half so, like the wind. He appeared out of nowhere at the doorstep. But, why didn't you come back? I just want you to come back. Shen Yan, do you know, lately, I've realized that the more I search for you, the more I forget you. If you don't come back soon, I might really forget you. Just kidding, Shen Yan, I remember you. Trust me, Shen Yan. So many people have appeared around me. They all want to be Feng Feng's mother and are urging the old man to let me marry again. Your husband is quite a catch. You should feel a bit of a sense of crisis. Why aren't you back yet? I miss you, Shen Yan. I know everything now. They showed me what you look like now, urging me to forget you just as you've forgotten me. I gazed greedily. You smiled so brightly. I should have been happy. But why are there tears falling? Shen Yan, I'm not happy. Why can you still smile so brightly when your life no longer has me in it? You're heartless, fickle, and ungrateful. Yes, I still want you to come back. Even if you no longer love me now, the Enyen in Shen Yan is the Enyen from what is longed for is never forgotten, and will surely resonate, even if it's just my own echo, and find it sweet as honey. After hearing the story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you